How's it going, folks? Stu here. It has been a hot minute. The hottest of minutes. Since I last did a last month on Letterboxd. I did one for August, and then September. Sorry about that one. Things got incredibly busy. But now the film festival's over, and things are getting a little bit calmer. They're kind of not really, but I've got time to do one of these. So guess what we're going to bloody do? We're going to go through another month on Letterboxd. I hope you're as excited as I am, because October, let me tell you, it was a big boy. It was very stacked. So I might recommend just duct taping your socks to your ankles or something, because my friend, I'm about to blow them off. That's right, October has got to be the fattest of months in terms of things I watched. And the diary on Letterboxd, I mean, let's pull that bad boy up. Look at this sumbitch. I mean, I'm not counting that. There's just a lot of films. Oh, I've done what I usually do, which is forget to tell you to go follow me on Letterboxd right up the front. Get up the front, Stu, so that people do it. Follow me on Letterboxd, link down there. It means you get this, but when it happens, it's absolutely crazy. But while you're down there, why don't you let me know what you watched in October, and we'll look at them and we'll go, why did you watch that, you bloody loony? Right, now that the housekeeping's out of the way, let's get back to the films. Where to start? Probably with the first one, Squid Game. This feels cheating. Squid Game is obviously a TV series, which is why I said it feels a little bit like I'm cheating here. But go with me. You probably heard about it. Everyone was going nuts about it, and Halloween just came. Lots of people dressing up as it. Big show, I think it's safe to say. Didn't adore it, like I think a lot of people were saying. Ep 6 ruined me. Ep 7 almost ruined the show. If you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, do check it out. I recommend it, but just be prepared that episode 7 is a real stonking letdown. Aside from that very brief and unbelievably very clever and undeniably very witty Letterboxd log from me there, I also found the show to be quite like up and down. Like the first episode, yes, hooked. Second episode, all right, fine. Third episode, yes, hooked. Fourth, you see what I'm saying? It was very up and down all over the place. 3.5 stars. A good start to the month, I'd say. Not amazing, but not bad. We've definitely got a lot of room to get better, that's for sure. But next up, I watched Vivo, which is an animated film, which is on Netflix, and I was surprised that it just got dumped on Netflix because it has a lot of talented people at the helm of this one. I searched it out, much thanks to my boy Luke Herefield, who just gave a glowing review of this one, and I was like, I definitely need to watch this one now. But I have to say, Luke, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry. I did not love this film as much as you, and I really just wanted to love this film. Just felt like it was lacking something, like it was almost on like cruise control for an animated Lin-Manuel Miranda musical, right? If that makes sense. Enjoyed my time with this one, but also I'm already forgetting it. Yeah. Pretty much. 2.5 stars. Bang slap in the middle right there. You couldn't be more in the middle if your name was bloody Malcolm. Am I right? Let's see which way the old star pendulum swings on our next watch, which was The Souvenir. I watched this one just because I knew the second one was coming up at the London Film Festival, and I hadn't watched the first Souvenir, even though I'd heard loads of people say, hey, it's a great film. So obviously I had to check it out. Wow, am I late to this, but damn, this was gorgeous. Loved the experience of sinking into this relationship, which dances a very tricky line in exploring that feeling of a love you know shouldn't exist, but can't help but throw yourself into. I'd seen some people say that like they just, why should I care? This person's a dickhead. But I think this film does a really good job of exploring a toxic relationship. I'm always fascinated and interested by that. One of those films where you're like, you need to break up with this man as quickly as you possibly can, sister. It's quite fun. Well, I mean, it's not fun. It's not a fun film, even slightly. Also, Swintons. 4 stars. But then I watched a film which I was kind of weirdly quite excited for, and that was Till Death, which is a thriller starring Megan Fox. I didn't really know much about, other than that it was a thriller starring Megan Fox, and it was a fun one. I can have fun with this one, even though it's absolutely ridiculous. Fuck 'em up, Megan. Yeah, fuck 'em up, Megan, indeed. Definitely say I'd recommend it, although did make me very cold watching it. Just like, oh, put something on your feet. I know she can't put something on her feet, but you're going out in the snow, love. Come on. Ooh, getting cold just thinking about it. 3 stars. But then we come to the beginning of what I can only describe as an absolute ruddy onslaught of films, which came in the form of the London Film Festival. You noticed on the channel, I'm sure, that there was a lot of reviews going out. I did one every day, which I'm pretty chuffed with. Thank you very much. And we kick things off with The Harder They Fall, which is a Netflix Western. I do have a full review for that, so I'll link for that down below, or you can click up there. Is this mirrored? I can never remember which way to point. An energetic, playful spin on the genre that's funny, violent, and brimming with style. Plus, literally everyone pulls off a holy fuck, you're cool as shit look. They do. They really, truly do. Everyone in this film had a moment where I was like, I need to be you. I know it's not actually possible even slightly, but I just need this to happen. 3.5 stars. Great little start to the festival. And we followed that up with The Medium, which was a one. I'm very excited for The Medium because I have a lot of time for that sort of East Asian horror film vibe. Usually works a lot for me. A Thai sort of spiritual take on the found footage genre. I was here for it. I was also very, very disappointed by it. Begins with a promising setup, patient, well presented, but slowly unravels into a mess of genre cliches. Ending did entertain me though, although not sure for the reasons intended. Yeah, this film was just basically like, hey, you know everything that's ever scared people in horror films? Why don't we just do that? But like in Thailand. Disappointing, and obviously the first big disappointment of the festival, which we'll learn there were more of to come. Ooh, sneaky, you'll find out what I'm talking about there in a few minutes. So The Medium, maybe they should change the name to just Under Medium, because I gave it 2 stars. Probably the worst joke in the video. But next up I had one which I was incredibly excited for. It's a new Pablo Larraín film, Spencer. Again, full review, down there. One of those corners. Larraín on top form, clashing the pomposity of monarchy with the isolation paranoia of public scrutiny. Kristen Stewart is just sublime, but Johnny Greenwood's score is completely stunning. Adored it. Yes. Good review, Stu. You captured my thoughts perfectly. Weird. Good grief, Kristen's coming for that Oscar. Don't need to say much else on that one. 4.5 stars. We're in the good stuff now, baby, and you better buckle up. It's only getting crazier. So next after that, I saw another of my most anticipated films of the year. You know what I said when I said October was stacked? This is what I'm talking about. Because Film Festival was like, hey, you know all those films you've just been excited as heck for all year? Have them all on the same bloody day. I saw Red Rocket, which is a new Sean Baker film. He did Tangerine, he did The Florida Project, absolutely stunning director, and he delivered again with Red Rocket. Again, full review. I don't need to point anymore, but I'm going to still do it. Check it out for full thoughts, but holy shit, we have a new favourite of the year. At this point, I didn't know that I would then go on to get a few more new favourites of the year, so you know, it's quite fun looking back on this. This thing is everything I wanted and more. Simon Rex, aka Dirt Nasty himself, absolutely demolishes the role. Sean Baker pulls off another complex but stunning character study. Shot and gorgeous 16mm film as usual. I've no doubt this thing will whip even harder on rewatch. Yeah, this is one of the films this year from the film festival that I'm most excited to rewatch because it's just a hoot. It's just sublime. 4.5 stars again. 4.5 stars in a row. It's rare that we get a good streak like that. But baby, this was October. You know, this one cooked differently. So after that, what was next? Bergamot Island, which is a film which I really didn't know much about at all other than the cast. And it was a really lovely, sort of surprising, nice little gem. Again, I will have more fleshed out thoughts on the channel at some point in the future, so I will keep this one short as usual. Settled in nicely to its calm, charming tone, found it to be a little too meandering in places with its share of on-the-nose references, but was constantly intrigued and engaged by its weaving of meta elements and exploration of creative process. Also, didn't mention it here, but I'll say it right now, Mia Wasikowska, I mean, come on. Kills it. She's always amazing. She needs to just be loved a lot more than she is. I know she is, but you know, put her in more films. The world. 3.5 stars. And then we moved on to Mona Lisa and the Blood Moon, which is another film which I didn't really know much about at all, other than people telling me it was good. Again, this was another suggestion from my buddy Luke Herefield. I don't know if I would have gone and see this if I hadn't seen him sort of just saying, go watch it, you'll have a fun time. So I did, and I did have a fun time. I mean, bang on the money, Luke. This thing was crazy. Holy shit, this thing is batshit, moves through its own weird, random, surreal world. It doesn't give a shit if you're along for the ride or not. A weird film that it sort of feels like one of those inconsequential ones. You sort of finish it and you're like, not sure what the point in it was, but I had a hoot with it anyway. I'll have some more fleshed out thoughts on this in the channel in the future, but for now, 3.5 stars. And then, what did we move on to? We moved on to The Souvenir Part 2. Remember how mere minutes ago I said I just watched the first one so that I would be ready for this one? Well, it paid off, baby, because it meant that I could go and enjoy the second one. And enjoy it I did. This was a fantastic film. Again, full bloody review on the channel, so link down there and up there. Go check it out. I love this one's deeper dive into the meta with a stronger focus on filmmaking, and also more Ayoade, always a treat. Similarly rated to the first with a 4 stars. And then we move on to Encounter, which is another film at the festival, which was one of those, I know nothing about it except for the person in it, so I'm gonna go see it. I kind of love festivals for that, you know? You can just rock up and be like, You're cool. Let's see what you've got to do. Not entirely sure where I land with this. Definitely on the light to end of the spectrum, in part because of Riz Ahmed's brilliant central performance and a powerful climax, but found the way it reveals and navigates its story to often be a little too clunky and frustrating. I hate watching films and feeling like that kind of like, well, I think if you did it this way, it would be better because, you know, I'm not a film director or a writer, so arguably anything I would be coming up with would be much, much worse. But there were a lot of moments in this where I was like, I can just almost see how this might have been more effective than what you're going for, and it gets in the way and it frustrates me. 3 stars. A nice sort of alright film, I guess. And then on the same day, look at this, you will notice multiple films a day. I mean, film festival will do that to you, baby. I caught The Hand of God. Again, you're gonna get sick of me saying it, but I didn't know anything about this one, and I just went, fuck it. We'll see it. A beauty to look at and hugely entertaining to run along with a fantastic performance from Filippo Scotti, led down a little by some overt messaging and clunky plotting, but it's satisfied dramatically and comically in the end. Yeah, I mean, overall, I enjoyed this thing. I wonder if I'd enjoy it more on rewatch, just because I know what the plot is and where it's going, because it's a very sort of web of plots, right? One of those films, lots of characters to keep up with. It's coming to Netflix soon, so I'll definitely be able to rewatch it and see if that is the case. But for now, 3.5 stars. Then we had another big one. I mean, this is one which everyone's been talking about. Titan, the new one from Julia Ducournau. I've done a full review. I recommend checking that out for some more concrete thoughts that aren't just me sat here going, what the fuck? You know where the links are at this point, but my good grief, this film was something else, huh? Julia Ducournau has carved out her own corner of cinema and continues to just fucking whip. Absolutely love this. Totally singular, unflinching, but emotional piece of batshit body horror. Yep, it's all of those things. Crazy film. 4.5 stars, didn't disappoint me, and just, it was awesome. But the anticipated films they keep on rolling in October on the 9th. We're only on the 9th of October. This isn't even a third of the way through the month, guys. Last Night in Soho, which just came out in UK cinemas. So let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. And also another full review. So links for that wherever you want to go watch it. A hugely entertaining ride, rich with Wright's typical flair for ingenuity, stunning sequences, and a killer soundtrack to suit. Did find it slipped a little in its climax. Yeah. 4 stars. And then we had another anticipated film. I need to find a new way of just saying like, and then I saw one which I was very excited about. I saw one of my major big top of the list fun film. I saw the new Wes Anderson, French Dispatch, and it ripped. It was wicked. Came out at the press screening of this one, and I feel like the general mood was like, it was all right. And I was surprised, because I just thought this thing was a hoot. It was a load of fun. Falls into the usual anthology film traps, but still delivers a wonderful time in another charming Wes Anderson world. Had a blast of each story in its own way, and actually think the inconsequentialness of it all works to its advantage. I do think it works to its advantage. I've also got a full review, so we're gonna cut that short there. 4 stars, we're on a good run of 4 stars, which is a solid time. In my eyes, yes, keep them coming. Or don't, because the next film was not a 4-star. It was very much a lower star. True Things, which is a British sort of romance drama about a toxic relationship. Seems to be the month that I enjoyed watching those, apparently. Don't know. I'll go into more details on the channel in the future, but this one, I just don't know. Wasn't really particularly taken with it. Really appreciated the craft on display, but couldn't escape the feeling we'd seen a lot of these themes, characters, relationships before. Especially having watched a toxic relationship done so interestingly and so well earlier in the month in the form of the Souvenir films, which also coincidentally star the same fucking guy who is apparently just Mr. Red Flag McGee at the moment. So it's just a 3 stars at the end of the day for True Things. And then I saw, don't say it, Stu, don't you dare say it. I saw another one of my most anticipated films at the festival. I don't know if you knew that. I was catching a few of those. I saw Come On, which was a surprise film at the London Film Festival. So I wasn't even bloody expecting to see this film. And I've never seen so many people just collectively cheer at a movie's sort of distribution logo at the beginning. When that A24 logo came up, everyone was like, we know what it is. Fuck yeah. It was like watching Endgame opening night, but like for arty film nerds, which is as depressing as it sounds. Again, I've done a full review. Please check it out. Come On feels like an extension of the stunning work Mills crafted with the National for I Am Easy to Find. This time applied to an uncle-nephew relationship, realised by 2 wonderful performances. Adored it. 4.5 stars. Whammy. Just inject all of these films into my bloodstream, my guy. It bloody continues. It's almost getting exhausting at this point. I'm so sorry that this is going to be one of the most like monotonous videos in the series. It's just like great film after great film. But I saw The Power of the Dog, the new Jane Campion one. I'm sorry to sound... It's such a good film, I shouldn't sit and be like, I fucking saw that. I saw The Power of the Dog, the new Jane Campion film. It's coming to Netflix. It's fucking amazing. Watch it. 4.5 stars. I should give you something else, shouldn't I? I will. Takes a little while to get going, but when it does, this thing is so completely absorbing, it is impossible not to get wrapped up in. Why did I just apparently forgot how to English there. Plus, another absolutely mesmerizing score from Mr. Greenwood. Good lord. What is happening at the moment? I'll sit down for films and I'll be like, this is a really interesting score. And then about half an hour ago, I'll be like, this is Johnny Greenwood. And then the credits roll at the end. Johnny Greenwood. And I'm like, you son of a fucking bitch. You've got to stop creeping up with these incredible scores, Mr. Greenwood. I've done a full review on that, so more comprehensive thoughts in the link. But for now, 4.5 stars, as I said. But what was next? Please be something that wasn't amazing, just in terms of variety. Mass. I've got a full review coming very, very soon for that on the channel, so I'm going to keep this incredibly brief. But Mass completely ruined me emotionally. Jason Isaacs, man. I don't know what... Jason Isaacs. I'm just going to keep saying his name. Jason Isaacs. 4 stars. Why wasn't that higher, Stu? Prithee tell. Why don't you wait for the full review? How about that? How about being patient? Okay. Next, I watched A Hero at the film festival. Again, a film I didn't know a huge amount about. Went and saw it. Had an alright time with it. On a whole, a strong piece with a gripping story about truth and lies and a plot that snowballs satisfyingly to its climax, but I found it repetitive and often far too overt approach to questions of moral ambiguity holds it back from ever really taking off. Yeah, that. 3 stars for A Hero. Wasn't quite the hero I wanted. We'll move on. Here's a sore one. It still hurts a little bit. Belfast. This one had been getting so much buzz that I sort of like, it's going to be great. You know, I sat down like, it's going to be lovely. It's going to be fine. And it wasn't really that. And I know for a fact that I am like an odd one out on this one. Like everyone I saw it with was like, that was beautiful. And I just want what can I have their emotions for this one? I want to love this film. Again, I've got a full review, so please check that out for more comprehensive thoughts. But sadly, Belfast was a huge swing and a miss for me. Charming moments and decent performances weren't enough to lift a completely obvious screenplay. And frustratingly by the numbers direction from Branagh, that absolutely thinks it's more interesting than it is. I promise I have a heart. Judi Dench didn't make me cry in this film. So like that should have been my 1 sentence review. Judi Dench was in this film and did not make me cry. You fucked it, Branagh. 2.5 stars, completely in the middle. I don't think I'll watch this film again. Then I saw Nitram, the new one from Justin Kurzel. Again, wait on some more comprehensive thoughts on the channel. I'm sorry to keep saying that. And a lot of films to get through, all right? So they're coming. Kurzel's direction feels thankfully restrained, avoiding traps of sensationalism. Jones is terrifying, conflicted on just how necessary or illuminating this thing is, if it is at all. I do think worth watching, but again, it's sort of strange to be like, everyone rush out and watch this film about the murderer, you know? Like, it makes me feel a bit weird talking about it. But it's a tricky film. It's a tricky line to handle. I do think it's done well, in my opinion. So 3.5 stars for Nitram. The Lost Daughter. Look, I'm keeping it short again because I'm getting a full review for this one out, I promise you. All you need to know is it's Maggie Gyllenhaal's debut. It is very, very good. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. I love the way that Maggie Gyllenhaal was like, you know what? I'm going to make the film I want to make. I'm going to touch on some taboo subjects and topics. It was a really great exploration. Everyone's great in it. 4 stars. Then I watched Neptune Frost, which I was really interested about. I was like the most interested by this film out of all the films at the festival. I knew nothing about it other than that it was like an African futurist sort of techno musical thing. And I don't know. This film wasn't really for me, I don't think. Which is crazy because I need to reiterate, it's an anti-capitalist, anti-colonialist, Afrofuturist electro musical. I should be sat here saying this thing was amazing, right? But then you've got people dressed in keyboards putting their middle finger up to Google, literally saying fuck Google to the camera, and you're like, wasn't the most subtle thing you're going for here. So Neptune Frost gets a 2 stars from me. Another weak one from the festival, I think. Then I saw Lutsu, which is a pretty sort of fine drama. The only real reason I saw this film was A, because I saw some people say it was good, obviously, but also B, and perhaps mainly, the picture was just of a guy on a cool looking boat. And I thought, that's a nice boat. I'm going to watch it for an hour and a half. There's an insight into how I pick the films I watch at film festivals. A somewhat straightforward drama, perhaps a little too much for its own good, but it's engaging and sincere enough to work. Solid performances, tight dramatic story, compelling neo-realist presentation make for a good but not great little watch. Definitely recommend giving it a watch. As I said with the others though, I'm hoping to get some actual more fleshed out thoughts on that on the channel soon, so that's why I'm keeping it sort of vague. 3 stars. Then we saw what up until this point was the biggest stonker of the festival for me on the 14th of October, and that was Benediction. And this was a crazy experience, right? Because I watched this one, I didn't really know a huge amount about it going in, other than that it's about Sassoon, very famous poet. And I watched this thing, went along with my good pal Ren, and we were both sort of like, well, that wasn't good. Like almost immediately when we finished. And then I come out and go online, and every review's like, what a film. And I'm just sort of like, did we watch the same fucking film? Felt like a bad ITV period drama, and I felt absolutely nothing. Nice, Stu. Go and, you know, break them in easily. An eye-rolling, dull mess of a biopic. Fuck, I can't remember being this savage. Go off, Stu. Clashing between tones, tied together with distractingly stagey performances and painfully obvious direction. You'd think he just discovered rotoscoping, like the poems. Yes, I am laughing at my own Letterboxd review. 1.5 stars. But as we'll soon find out, things could only get worse at the film festival, as we do have another film which is much worse. But after that, I went to Mothering Sunday, which is a period drama, a period romance, starring Odessa Young, who I love. Olivia Colman's in there, Colin Firth's in there. It's lining up to be a great film, right? No. Good God, this feels like a confused mess of ideas and intentions, desperately clamoring for a way to lift itself out of convention. Like the editing. The editing is so bad. This might be the worst editing I've seen all year. I'm saying it because it feels like it's taking a linear thing and just like cutting it up to be edgy, but it's not doing it. Why? It just, all it does is just distract and take you out of the things that I was getting sucked into. 2 stars for Mothering Sunday. I think that's out soon. Skip it. Then I saw Paris the 13th District, which is another film which I was very excited about. It's a new Jacques Audiard film. I'll definitely have some fleshed out thoughts on that on the channel soon, so we'll stick to the brief Letterboxd thoughts for now. Not my favourite of Audiard's filmography, but still really love spending time with these characters and their honest relationships. Balances charming humour with down-to-earth drama in a super engaging and fluid way. 4 stars. How's that? That was concise. On to the next one. That's all King Richard, which is another one which is getting a lot of buzz, and I think is going to do incredibly well, but I just didn't really click with. Full review, down there, up there. If you notice I'm trying to rush through these a bit more, it's because I'm very worried this SD card's going to fill up. Enjoyed my time with this, left underwhelmed. Impossible not to fall into its heart and charm, helped in turn by great performances, but felt like it took the easy route at the expense of much more genuine, interesting character interrogation that might have lifted it. 3 stars. Didn't have a hugely bad time, but didn't love this one. Didn't think it was that good. Then I watched Petite Mummon. Again, another film from a filmmaker I adore that I was incredibly excited for. I love Celine Sciamma. Portrait of a Lady on Fire, her previous film, is a fucking straight up masterwork. And again, I've got a full review for this one, so guess what? You can watch that. Fell into this thing like a soft, warm hug, which is unsurprising given Sciamma's frankly eerie track record for creating beautiful, tender worlds on screen. 4 stars. But then, and you know how I said that there was a film which was worse than Benediction? It's Bull. Again, people seem to be really enjoying this film, so am I missing something? I found this film to legitimately be the worst film I've seen this year. There was arguably nothing I liked about this film. Just complete, absolute fucking trash. I'm sorry to rail on a film like that bad, but it really, what are people seeing in this film? And then the ending. Good Lord, the ending of this film. It's trying to do something that it thinks is so clever, but doesn't make a single fucking ounce of sense. 1 star. The biggest 1 star you could ever give. Sour on this film. I'll probably do some full thoughts later in the channel. Might not though. I really didn't like it. Then I watched Memoria, which is the first film this year, which I immediately was like 5 out of 5. Like not 4.5, just straight up 5. Give it everything. And again, full thoughts and a full review. I'm not going to try and condense my thoughts down because there's just no way to do that without sounding like a snobby wanker. So go watch my review for some actual decent thoughts on Memoria. 5 stars. The full bloody shebang. Boys, we did it. We made it. And then I watched the last film of the festival for me, which was The Tragedy of Macbeth, which, good grief, is very good. It's a new Coen brother film. Singular, because it's not both of them this time. Again, a full review for that down there. So please watch my full thoughts on that. Drops on Apple TV Plus, I think, later in the year. But please see it in the cinema if you can. And if you feel safe to. It's much more impressive that way. 4.5 stars. I was just completely captivated by this thing. Then I caught a late one, which was Lamb. I missed it at the film festival because there was a clash between that and Petite Mummon. I obviously went with my girl Celine Sciamma because I'm not going to not do that. But a very, very big thank you to my lovely friends at MOLY for hooking me up with a screener late to this one so I could check it out for you guys. Again, full reviews out there so you can see some more comprehensive thoughts. Love the way it suggests most of its central narratives and themes, but then it's also like, here's a lamb in a knitted sweater and a fisherman brace. Had a hoot with this, and this was awesome. I loved this film. I thought it was cracking. And it's only got better the more I thought about it. 4 stars for Lamb. And then it's the big one, innit? Dune. That came out at the end of the month. I saw it in IMAX for the first time. Good grief, this thing was overwhelming. Holy moly. Full review again for this one on the channel, so please go and watch that. There's a lot of thoughts to say about Dune. It's huge. It's a massive film, so please check out my review. But I will say my first watch, I was slightly underwhelmed versus my expectations, but I was also insanely overwhelmed because I saw this thing on IMAX and it was like just being shagged by the craziest visuals you could ever think of, and the sound was like rattling my bones. So I had to go see it again, which is why the next film, Dune, hey look, it's Dune again. I saw it literally 3 days after the second time, and it's only in this watch where I was like, yep, this is doing everything I really, really wanted it to do on the first watch. So I bumped my review up to 4.5 stars. Villeneuve, he doesn't fucking miss, does he? And then I finished a month up with my Halloween watch this year, which was Censor, which I missed earlier in the year and heard great things about, and it actually came to MOBI on Halloween. Hugely inventive, straight up cool as fuck. Commentary on censorship does feel slightly predictable and obvious at first, but ends up weaving so slickly into the style of the film that by the end it just felt so unbelievably satisfying. For like the first half I was like, I'm enjoying this, but I'm not sure. And then the second half, I was like, oh, okay, you're rocking this shit. 4 stars and a great end to October. But my goodness, I said again, what an insanely stacked month for films. This is it. This is the peak of the last month on Letterboxd, folks. It don't get better than this. Gonna warn you in advance, November's not gonna be this insane, which might be a good thing. Just a bit of a chill one on the channel. But do you have any thoughts on all of those bloody films I've watched? I'm sure you do. Let me know what you thought about any of those films, as well as what you've been watching in October in the comments below. It's a stacked time for films at the moment, so no doubt you guys have been seeing some great stuff as well. Leave your comments down below. Also subscribe. I do this every month where we go through what I've been watching, but I've also got a huge amount of reviews left over from the film festival that I need to be getting through on the channel, and I'm only slightly daunted by. But also make sure you follow me on Letterboxd so you can see my ratings on films as I put them out live. I need to have a long swig of the most water ever because my mouth is dry from talking about films for too long. October was too big. I was scared about this. This is going to be a long video. I'll see you guys soon for some more thoughts on more films. Yeah, see ya.